Good evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Amita Balachandra. Now, I'm sure since yesterday you've been getting messages from WhatsApp talking about its updated privacy policy, asking you to either agree to the policy right now, or you also have the not now option, because there is time till the 8th of February 2021. I'm talking about the updated terms of service and privacy policy by WhatsApp, and there is time till the 8th of February 2021 to accept it to continue to use the platform. Before we go any further, let me take you to the key updates that's really coming. First is that there is now more information about WhatsApp services and how it processes our data in the updated privacy policy. There are also updates on how businesses use Facebook hosted services and how they manage their WhatsApp chats. There is also information on how WhatsApp partners with Facebook to offer integrations across Facebook as well. Now, we're going to try and understand how this privacy policy is different from the older privacy policy. We'll look at it point by point and get a better understanding of what we're really sharing before we accept this. Of course, the deadline is on the 8th till the 8th of February 2021 for us to accept this. But to understand and get a better perspective of all of these points, I have with me Shivangi Nadkarni, who's a co-founder and CEO of Arrka. She has 24 years of experience in the domains of information security and risk management, e-commerce, and networking. And she's probably somebody who understands this better than any of us. So, Ms. Nadkarni, thank you so much for joining us. For people who are watching, if you have any questions at all about the new privacy policy, the updated privacy policy, do ask your questions and we'll take that up during the course of the conversation. Ms. Nadkarni, first question to you is this: what are the obvious changes in the updated privacy policy when compared to the older version?
Thanks, Amita, first of all, for inviting me. I think what the new policy is really about is coming and stating upfront in very clear terms, what data is being collected, what are they going to do with the data, how are they going to share it, etc. Right? The earlier policy was not so clear in terms of specifics, and I think that's something which is commendable because now there is clarity all around for all of us to take decisions. I think one thing I want to reiterate, because I've been hearing this from yesterday, and there is, as you said, there's been a lot of discussion. I think one thing they have reiterated and we need to be clear about is that your content in terms of what goes in the messages is not something which is going to be accessible to WhatsApp. It will continue to be encrypted and it will continue to be between two devices. So that clarity is also there. Just a heads up on that.
Let's look at this point by point. And the first point I really want to talk about is businesses, because one of the points that's been made in the updated version is this: that businesses you interact with using our services, which is WhatsApp, may provide WhatsApp with information about their interactions with you. If you can help us explain what this means.
Yeah, so let's assume you're chatting on WhatsApp with a WhatsApp business account, right? It belongs to a company. Now, the kind of information that you exchange, you have to understand that you not only share the content, right? The actual content of the message, but you also share a whole lot of other information while that's happening, automatically information that's being collected. In this particular case, the business may start getting information about you which you share with them, which then goes into the control of the business, and they in turn may share some of that with WhatsApp, and WhatsApp in turn may share some of that with Facebook. So as long as we're very clear that we have to be careful when we're dealing with a business account, because you don't have control really over what is the kind of information that will be further shared with what you share with a business account, which is very different from, let's say, when you're chatting with a friend, right?
And there's also disclosure about Facebook, which wasn't perhaps there in the older privacy policy, because the updated version very clearly says when we share information with third-party service providers and other Facebook companies in this capacity, We require them to use your information on our behalf in accordance with our instructions. Does this then mean, or is it making it clear that WhatsApp is using its information with third party service providers, including Facebook?
Yes, they've very clearly stated that they will share information with all Facebook companies, which means Facebook, Messenger, Insta, and a host of others. And that information, they're saying that whatever are the terms that one has agreed to will be the basis for which the information WhatsApp shares with them. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, what they do with that information will be governed by their privacy policy. So one has to be very clear about what goes to WhatsApp and what goes further from with other third parties. And I would look at Facebook companies also as third parties in relation to WhatsApp, right?
Hmm. And also let's talk about the fact that when you perhaps delete your account, and there are clear instructions on how you can do that, but it very clearly says that please remember that when you delete your account, it does not affect your information related to the groups you created or the information other users have relating to you, which means the information that you perhaps shared with other people or groups are all still there even if you delete your account.
Yes, because logically, whatever you have shared with a group or with other individuals lies with them as well, right? It's not just on your device. So
Hmm.
while you may have deleted your account, the others have not. And therefore, that information continues to be available with them and will be subject to whatever are the terms that prevail or what they choose to do with it.
So, looking at all of these changes, do you believe that there are any privacy concerns at all, or it is just that the updated version is making things more clear? Because a lot of these things weren't there in the previous version.
Yes, in fact, I look at this as a highly educative kind of a move, and
Hmm.
what I would call upping the transparency factor on behalf of WhatsApp. That they've come out and clearly said what they do with the data. What is now up to us as users is to be aware of the implications of this, right?
Hmm.
And it's not just Facebook, right? There are, I mean, not just WhatsApp, there are several other apps that do the same thing. So it's our responsibility and for us to decide whether we're okay to live with the risk of what is going on, and if yes, what are the measures that we have to take to keep ourselves sort of safe. It's always a toss up between risk versus convenience, and it's different for different people. So it's a choice.
It's a choice. But then when it comes to end-to-end encryption, which is what WhatsApp used to always talk about, of course, it's there in the updated version. You're saying that that remains, and there is no reason to worry.
Yes, that's what they've said, that that remains,
Hmm.
right?
So,
Access to that information.
so what is your advice to people who are watching right now? Because there's a lot of talk about other applications, perhaps some of them talking about moving. Uh, some of them asking what this really means. How can the privacy policy be updated? Of course, it can be updated, but if you can tell us, should all of us read the privacy policy before hitting the agree button? What is your advice to people who are watching?
I would definitely advise you to read the privacy policy. Just that most of us don't have the time or the ability to make sense of what is written, because at the end of the day it is a little complex, right? So, and the more important part is that you don't really have a choice. End of the day, if you want to use the app, you have to agree. So I would in fact advise people to be more prudent, go back to the basic principles, go back to the permissions that are being taken, understand, use them wisely, look at what kind of cookies and trackers are being used. Wherever you have control, switch them off. And the bottom line remains the same across all of cyber world, which is be careful what you share, be careful what you post. Don't assume that there is, it's all hunky dory, and therefore that's a risk you live with in the online world.
And the last time we had a conversation about data privacy, you had said that we need to use as many, as fewer apps as possible. Does that advice remain?
Of course, it does. The lesser your exposure, right? The more sort of safe you are, I would say.
All right. So these are the major changes that have come in the updated policy of WhatsApp, and it's there till the 8th of February 2021 for you to go through the privacy policy and accept it. If you don't accept it, then you may not be able to use the app. But what advice really is coming in right now is that use as fewer apps as possible and be very careful about what you put out there. Because at the end of the day, it's your responsibility as well. Ms. Nadkarni, thank you so much for joining and giving us that perspective and helping us understand things a little better. For people who really want to read through the privacy policy, we have a link to that in the description below. So please go ahead and read that. Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much. Thank you.